How are black holes born? Actually, saying they are born isn't entirely accurate. Black holes aren't really things that are born in the usual sense. They're more like the dark remains left behind by dead stars. In fact, you could say black holes are the cosmic zombies of the universe, because once upon a time, they were alive, shining, blazing stars lighting up space. But eventually their fuel ran out, their balance collapsed, and the life of that giant star came to an end. Normally you'd think the story would end there, but for some stars, death isn't the end. The real strangeness begins after that moment. Because when a sufficiently massive star dies, it doesn't just leave behind ordinary debris. Instead, it creates something far more extreme, a gravitational field so powerful that not even light can escape. In other words, a star can die and transform into one of the most terrifying objects in the universe. Part 1. The battle inside a star. Inside every star, there is a constant battle. On one side, there is gravity, relentlessly pulling all the star's mass inward. On the other side, deep in the core, there are nuclear fusion reactions. In these reactions, hydrogen atoms fuse together to form helium, releasing enormous amounts of energy. And that energy pushes outward, so a star is actually held together by a delicate balance. Gravity pulls inward. Fusion pushes outward. As long as these two forces balance each other, the star remains stable, and it can keep shining for millions or even billions of years. But that balance doesn't last forever. Part 2. When the fuel runs out. Stars run on fuel, and that fuel is hydrogen. Over time, the hydrogen in the core begins to run out. Fusion slows down, and as fusion weakens, the outward pressure that once held the star up begins to fade. Eventually, the fusion reactions stop, and when that happens, something dramatic occurs. There is nothing left to resist gravity, and gravity starts to win. Part 3. The collapse. Once gravity takes over, the star's core begins collapsing inward, and this collapse happens incredibly fast. Sometimes in less than a second. The core compresses, the matter gets squeezed, atoms are crushed together, electrons and protons are forced closer and closer. The density becomes unimaginable. A teaspoon of this material could weigh billions of tons. At this point, the fate of the star depends entirely on the mass of the remaining core. Part 4. Neutron star or black hole. If the collapsing core isn't extremely massive, something remarkable happens. A new force emerges called neutron degeneracy pressure. This pressure halts the collapse. What remains is an incredibly dense object called a neutron star. But if the core is massive enough, even that last line of defense fails. Gravity keeps pulling inward. The collapse continues. And eventually, the core passes a critical threshold. At that point, nothing in the universe can stop it. Part 5. When even light cannot escape. As the collapse continues, gravity becomes unimaginably strong. So strong that it creates a boundary in space. This boundary is called the event horizon. The event horizon is the point of no return. Cross it, and every possible path through spacetime leads inward. Escape becomes impossible, because the speed required to escape would be faster than light itself. And as far as we know, nothing in the universe can travel faster than light. At that moment, a black hole is born. Part 6. The Supernova. But before that final collapse, something spectacular often happens. The outer layers of the dying star are violently blasted into space. This explosion is called a supernova. Supernovae are among the most powerful explosions in the universe. For a brief moment, a single exploding star can outshine an entire galaxy. But after the explosion fades, what remains at the center may be something far darker. A newborn black hole. Final part. Cosmic zombies. So black holes aren't really a story about birth, they're a story about death. Once there was a brilliant star radiating light across space. Then its fuel ran out, the balance collapsed, the core imploded, and what remained was something that consumes even light itself. That's why it's not entirely wrong to think of black holes as cosmic zombies, the afterlife of stars. And the next time you look up at the night sky, remember, the universe isn't just filled with stars, it's also filled with the ghostly remains of stars that died long ago. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button and share it with the people you care about, so the light of science can reach everyone.